Good morning, everyone. I am Dr. Sachin Kumar. I am working as an assistant professor at Cluster Innovation Center, University of Delhi. I primarily work in artificial intelligence, urban computing, and computational social systems. I welcome you all for this invited lecture in 2 week refresher course on feminist teaching and research in higher education, theory and practice. I would like to thank Dr. Madhu Kosik, coordinator, and Dr. Jarun Nisha, convener of the refresher course, for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to share my views on the topic digital technologies, biases, and gender issues. Friends, we all know that at present the world around us is going digital and more activities of our lives, whether they are professional or personal, are being driven by digital devices and information transmission in digital space. So, to get few insights about the digital technologies and their implication on our life and specifically on different sections of society such as weaker section, women, becomes important and necessary. So, the outline of my presentation is that first I'll discuss the motivation for this lecture. After that, I'll introduce some important concepts related to technologies such as digital space, digital technologies, algorithms, artificial intelligence, and machine learning, etc. I'll also explain the practical impact of AI in our daily lives and in different professions where we are using these technologies. Once the basic understanding of the things becomes clear, I'll start discussing the issues such as digital divide and digital access, biases and gender issues emerged due to these technologies with real world examples. In the end, I'll try to put the case with AI and the gender problem that it has created with feminist perspective. Friends, we all know that curiosity is the mother of knowledge. Our curiosity has always driven the human race forward in search of new knowledge. Curiosity is one of the reasons for human development and growth. Human beings have always tried to make their life and environment better for their comfort and better living. Broadly, this process of development and technological history can be categorized into three stages with socio-economic parameters such as hunters and gatherers society or the period, agriculture period, and industrial development period in which we are living in right now. Initially, societies were of hunters and gatherers, usually very simple tools such as ox and bow for the food were used. Later on, the society transformed itself to a more settled way of life by adopting agriculture with more advanced tools. During the 17th century, intellectual progress of the scientific ideas and inventions of steamboat engines drove the modern day industrialized society and modern way of living. This modern way of living consists of many products and services, making our life very easy and specialized. More and more tools and processes are automated due to the investigation of hardware, machines. For example, agriculture is done with the help of mechanical tools and machines now, such as tractors instead of pull carts. More people are working in cities and developing tools and machines for increasing conformity or comfortability in daily to daily life. More and more factories and companies are innovating new products for the masses. All these developments have been rapid in recent years, and they have made our society socialized, more advanced, more digital, more uh, information driven, more machine driven. So new type of jobs have also come up, and old and traditional jobs are drying up and they are becoming obsolete. If we see the technological progression uh, of the human history, then we will see that digital technology and its associated tools form the most recent long wave of humanity social economic evolution. The first technological revolutions go all the way back to the stone, bronze, and iron ages. when the transformation of materials was driving force in the Sefumtarian process of creative destruction. A second meta paradigm of societal modernization was dedicated to the transformation of energy, including water, steam, electric, and combustion power. This phase was called the Industrial Revolution because it was everything was done on the industry scale for the masses. The current paradigm focuses on the transformation of the information available or around us. Less than 1% of the world's technologically stored information was in digital format in late 1980s, and now it is surpassing more than 99% by 2012. Every 2.5 to 3 years, humanity is able to store more information than since the beginning of the civilization. The current age focuses on tools that automate the conversion of data into actionable and insightful knowledge. To understand the impact of digital technologies and their tools, let's take the case of newspaper advertising. The advertising money that used to go to the print mainstream media is increasingly going to the digital technologies driven social media platforms. uh, this means that the traditional news publishers are losing revenue and journalists are losing their jobs. One third of them in UK between 2001 and 2010, one third of them in US newsrooms between 2006 and 2013, and 20% in Australia between 2012 to 2014. So newspapers such as UK Independent are going out of the business. 181 local newspapers in UK since 2015. They are also going with drastic decrease in their revenue. Many newsrooms are in danger of losing what matters most about the journalism, the valuable civic propounding, the street shifting the databases, asking challenging questions, hard graft of uncovering things that someone doesn't want you to know. So, summarizing the digital technologies, we can say that digital technologies have advanced more rapidly than any innovation in our history, reaching around 50% of the developing world's population in only 2 decades and transforming these developing societies wherever there is access. By enhancing connectivity, financial inclusion, access to trade, and public services, technology can be a great equalizer. So now we discuss about the digital technologies and some of the important concepts related to digital technologies. One of them is digital space. So basically, digital space is the space created with the internet. People develop platform for the people to use and interact. For example, Facebook, Twitter. So these are the digital platform. You can also call them social media platform because they are helping in socialization of the individuals, but they are driven by the digital technologies. In more specific terms, we can say the digital space refers to what is displayed on the screen of a digital device, such as laptops, computers, tablets, or smartphones. The house screen of the device, application, or apps, movies, photos, and websites all occupy the digital space. And more you will notice the things are happening that our all the things which were working on the standalone systems, they are now moving towards the digital space and online in real time basis. So you will see that earlier we used to have pen drive for our information transfer manually, but now we have cloud computing which you can use and you don't need any pen drive. So you will see that now very few people use pen drives. So this way everything is being stored in data centers, and it is being made available to the students or the teachers or to the individuals through cloud computing and real time access. Anywhere you can access that information. So when we come to the digital technologies, these are actually electronic tools or systems or devices and resources that generate, store or process data. So anything which comes under in these domains, we can say that comes under digital technologies. For example, algorithms helps us to process the data according to our requirement. We develop software, so they becomes the tool. We have technologies such as artificial intelligence and machine learning, which help us to get better insights out of the systems. Similarly, we have developed technologies such as facial recognition systems. We have a new concept of Internet of Things, in which devices are interconnected using internet, and accordingly they are taking decision what is better for the comfort of the human or society or in an environment. We also have blockchain. So these things are actually coming under digital technologies fundamentally. Now we will discuss about in detail. So we discuss about the digital footprint. Digital footprints means that how much information is now being converted into digital format. So what is that overall assessment or the measurement of the digital information, its generation and its speed. So if we see that in 2007, humankind was able to store 2.9 times 1020 optimally compressed bytes, communicate uh, communicate almost 2 times 1021 bytes, 1021 bytes, and carry out 6.4 times 1018 instructions per second on general purpose computer. That was the case in 2007. And in general purpose computing capacity grow at an annual rate of 58%, which is huge. Okay, it means that annually the computing capacity or computing the things which we are doing through computer systems or any digital device, they are growing at an annual rate of 58%. And if we go a little bit more deeper, then we will see that humankind's capacity for unidirectional information diffusion through broadcasting channels has experienced comparatively modest annual growth, that is of 6%. And majority of our technological memory has been in digital format since early 2000s. It is now 94% digital in 2007. So that is the case of the information digital footprint generation and its speed. So you can see the growth and the speed, how fast it is going, and how fast people and the government and the institutions, they are trying to uh, make available the internet access to communities which are not right now on internet or which does not have access to the internet. You must have heard about one internet type of slogan some time back, or you can say the Google initiative of providing internet connectivity in remote areas through satellite and other type of things. So that is all about to increase the footprint, to make available use of the resources, digital resources, to the people. So now we come to the new concept of the digital technologies, and this is very basic concept if you talk in terms of the computer science and the mathematics, that what is an algorithm. We will discuss why we are discussing these things, because first we need to understand the terminology so that we can understand how technology has created problems in digital space. And there are some digital issues, digital ethical issues, there are gender issues, and there are biases. So why these biases and all these things are emerging, and what is behind them. So these are the things which are behind them, and that's why we are discussing these things in a as a background to those problems. So algorithm is basically a finite set or a finite sequence of well-defined computer implementable instructions, and they are typically used to solve class of specific problems. For example, in a very simple manner, we can understand that if you are preparing tea, and if you write that first you have to do this task, then you have to do this thing, then this thing, then this thing. So if you are writing the steps of preparation of the tea, then that is also an algorithm to prepare the tea. So that is simple thing, that whatever method you have, whatever way you are doing anything, there can be n number of ways to achieve that task, achieve the goal which you want to achieve. And if you have set of rules to obtain the expected output with the given input, then those set of rules are called algorithms. Apart from that, algorithm have some characteristics. Okay, so we need to understand what is an algorithm and what is not an algorithm. So first thing is that algorithm must be finite. It says that algorithm must always terminate after a finite number of steps. For example, if you are doing any work, that work must complete. If your work is not completing and it is going in the infinite loop, then it is not an algorithm. Definiteness. Each step of the algorithm must be precisely defined. The action to be carried out must be rigorously and unambiguously specified for each case. Okay, there should not be any ambiguity, or there should not be any emotional touch, okay, which we cannot measure or which we cannot clearly specify. So we need to have well defined inputs, we need to have well defined outputs, and we also need to have well defined instructions to reach from input to output. And whatever we are writing, that should be very clear and unambiguous, and finiteness should be there. Next thing is, it should be language independent, that you know that there are many programming languages, so whatever work you are doing, that can be converted into other languages also. Okay, so that algorithm should not be very much specific to a particular language. It should be independent of that thing, although it may be implemented in n number of languages. That is the case. So these are the characteristics of the algorithms, that whenever you are writing any method, any way, or any process of achieving something, that must satisfy these things. Otherwise it will not be called as algorithm. So if we take the algorithms and if we see the today's world scenario, then we can see that algorithms are used for calculation, data processing, and automated reasoning. Algorithms are harnessing volumes of macro and micro data to influence decisions affecting people in the range of tasks. For example, making movie recommendations to help bank determine credit worthiness of the individuals, and for example, page rank algorithm by the user. So to understand these things, we can take a very simple example, that if you have your Facebook account, and if you have done on Google search something, if you have done any search related to the purchase, that I want to purchase the shoes or I want to purchase the saris, and if you go to your Facebook page, then uh, you will start getting the recommendations or the advertisement related to both the searches which you have done. So that done using the information that is being stored by your browser, and then it is being analyzed by the company or the Facebook to know that what you have searched, and then accordingly they customize the advertisement and display it to you, so that the revenue of the person who is giving the advertisement to the Facebook, that can be increased. So this way you can say that the information which is displayed to you, it helps you and it influence your decision making. Okay, so that is the important aspect of the algorithms and data and digital technologies coming together to make you understand or to influence you, that you choose the particular product, or you choose the particular party in the democracy. So that's why you can say that these large platforms can have large implications in our life.